Hi, everybody. Today I wanted to go and talk about with the problems with the generational gap and empathy in customer service and the gaps or the root causes of these particular issues themselves. What I'm going to go ahead and talk about today is some of the findings that not only myself have actually witnessed itself, but also some of the findings that some other researchers have also found, and with some of the success stories that some other companies have actually found when you are able to master empathy when it relates to customer service. So first off, of course, is with the struggle with empathy with the younger generation itself. To be able to provide empathy, you normally must be able to receive empathy first. What I mean by that is, of course, whenever I notice I try to talk about empathy with people, with the younger generation, they usually blow past it or take offense to this. I'm not too sure exactly where this came about or whatnot, but usually it's like they're not too sure how to handle it itself. Usually, for empathy to work or to be able to learn how to use it, you normally have to have a lot of experience in those particular types of situations itself, so you can relate to the actual situation. Um, Another thing too that I do notice is that a lot of people do struggle with the problem between empathy and sympathy. Um, in customer service itself, you don't want to use sympathy in a lot of situations itself. A lot of people notice that whenever a big issue comes around where if a customer is irate, the first automatic response to a lot of people, including myself, I'm guilty of this a long while back, is saying, I'm sorry. You don't necessarily want to particularly say I'm sorry in situations like this because you yourself didn't particularly cause the situation itself, so why take blame for it? And the reason why I believe why it's also easier to do this itself is because it's easier to sympathize with somebody than it is to empathize. So as far as where the situation itself came from, there was an actual survey in Michigan that was actually done by some researchers and found out that about 40% of the generation now is actually lower in sympathy than it was about 20 to 30 years ago, as far as people in college. So they noticed that there is a generational gap as far as where empathy used to almost be automatic back then to where it is now. Um, there's not really a pinpoint cause on what it is itself. There's still a lot of research being done on that. That information is actually from psychologytoday.com as far as where is the gap coming from or whatnot. So a lot of people will say, well, who's to blame? A 2000 study at Yale and also at the Max Planck Institute noticed that infants or babies, whenever at birth, have an automatic instinct for showing empathy or actually wanting to help one another. So usually at birth, baby's automatic instinct is whenever they're playing, they want to share the experience with you, their mom, their dad, or whoever, or another baby that's around them. So this usually comes automatic to infants. Um, so again, where's where's the gap? A lot of people say that it's technology because there's so much social media nowadays. They feel like there's like a gap between actual human interaction. And you know what? I kind of agree with that. Reason being is, do me a favor. Next time you actually go out to eat, look at the tables around you. I want you to actually see how many people are not actually talking to one another and are simply like this, on the phone for almost the entire time that they're eating. And of course, that information was found out at scientificamerican.com, where they have a couple of different studies in regards to empathy and the lack thereof. Um, Now, one thing that I do want to actually talk about itself is whenever you're able to overcome the gap, when you're able to learn it and master it, and what differences it can make. Now, I'm, of course, firsthand off of being able to see the outcome of this itself and actually was able to train this, and I'm thankful of that, is Apple itself has always been one of the leaders in providing customer service to customers, retention, customer loyalty, or whatnot. And why is this? Because the reason is to be able to provide empathy. Apple's training manual itself really focuses on empathy. So again, one of the things that I also helped train was providing empathy and helping put yourself in the customer's shoes itself. And so whenever a customer provides you an issue, you just don't want to say, oh, okay, sure. Because whenever you say that, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're reading or really paying attention to the customer's issue itself. So Apple really mastered this particular way of doing it as far as empathy, retaining the customers and everything. So again, this information was also backed up on info.profileinternational.com. So I want to have everybody look into that and actually just read up on that and what the big impact that empathy actually has on businesses nowadays. Anyway, that's my intake on empathy itself. I hope everybody takes a step back, bring empathy into it, practice it every day, whether it's over the phone or in person. Thanks, everybody.